Every once in a while, a piece of gear comes along that could have such a profound impact on your workflow that you want to tear everything down and just start again. That's exactly what I did after watching this goof talk about the new Padcaster Parrot Pro teleprompter, an upgrade to the original Parrot prompter that I had been using since 2017-ish, but supports wider angle lenses. After watching this fun segment a few times, I hit the like button, closed the video, and secured my Kickstarter order without hesitation. Then I got to work. Spoilers, yes, it is as good as I had hoped, solving most of the issues I had with the original, with one small caveat. This hunk of junk was my old Video Village, an audio recording setup for my on-camera A-roll shots. Built in 2019 when I started my stream critique series and wanted to prioritize efficiency. It features a big monitor to preview my video. Tiny field monitors don't help for checking focus at a distance. A standard mic arm holding my Sennheiser shotgun mic pointed mostly wherever I need it at a weird angle, and my MixPre 3.2 clamped in the least reliable way possible. It rolls, it goes where I need to, but it's been a real pain in my ass lately. I had to build this up as a separate rig because anytime I wanted to shoot my talking head segments with any sort of script, I use this Parrot prompter, which is now called the Padcaster Parrot, I believe, which does not play nicely with wide-angle lenses. On my zoom lens that I would typically use for autofocus, I have to keep it around 50 to 55 millimeters to not show the prompter in the shot, which means pushing the camera pretty far back. And that's a lot of stands and tripods and cables to juggle. It's not very efficient. Things have been slow lately. I can't keep up. I needed a change. Time to combine my original attempt with ideas from the genius minds of Caleb Pike and Josh Yeo. Impact Rolling C-Stand. I bought a bunch of these a few years ago and used them for everything. Wheels are a must in my space. Next, I needed a C-stand knuckle with this boom pole mounting arm. Slot in this boom pole with integrated XLR cable that I wish I knew existed years ago, and I immediately have a better mic arm solution than this junk scissor arm I've been using. Strapped to it is this 32-inch BenQ monitor. It's a 1440p 144Hz gaming monitor, but I really don't like it for gaming. What I do like is that it still accepts 4K 30 signals and scales it down, so I can preview my 4K cameras on it without any issues. It's nice and big, so I can see my lighting, my exposure, the details, what's in the background of my shot, and whether or not I'm in focus. I'm tired of not being in focus when I record a video. This time we're recording audio and video externally. I dug through my drawers and found my old Atomos Ninja Inferno, 4K 60fps, DNx HR, and ProRes recording to a SATA SSD. Easily swappable with this 3D printed sled courtesy of the rig master himself, Caleb Pike. This recorder has seen so much, having shot all of my original OBS master class alongside the Parrot prompter. These get mounted to this Impact super clamp and arm combo with a ball head sitting between the two recorders. Perfect. Speaking of audio recorders, the MixPre 3 Mark II, 32-bit float and timecode. Beast of an audio recorder. I kinda wish I had the 6-input model for some of my microphone, comparison and reviews, but it'll do. Another Impact clamp and a Manfrotto articulating arm to mount my camera, with an Arca Swiss quick release plate because we do not spin cameras in this studio. On the boom pole goes my Sennheiser MKH416 shotgun mic, my favorite mic ever made, at least for my voice. And strapped to the recorder arm is my Deity wireless lav receiver. Gotta be able to do both. HDMI from camera to Ninja, and then from Ninja to monitor, with a second HDMI ready for the monitor to connect to my R5C B-roll camera so I can monitor both. Because redundant audio is always a must, I've strapped this tiny little AverMedia shotgun mic to the camera itself, just in case. I have needed it sometimes. I will be running stereo out from the MixPre to the Ninja to bake in the audio once my cable arrives, but due to the 32-bit float recording, I'll probably still be syncing in post. Some sandbags and zip ties, C-stand shelf for a laptop, and lots of Velcro later, and I have myself the ultimate A-roll machine. Actually, wait, something's missing. Let's add another Mathellini clamp and a C-stand arm. Sick. Now I can record with desktop mics too, when I need to do those reviews. I might later add a GoPro or something for an up-close product angle if I'm, holding something in my hands as well. Out of the scope for right now. That was the rig. Now time for the video. For the camera for this, I'm going with my A7C. What a workhorse. 4K video, full frame, amazing eye detect autofocus. This used to be my webcam, but I can go in with heavily modded Razer webcams instead. Video soon. Now, I would be using my 24mm G Master lens here, but it died at the hands of a power surge, so it's in the shop. For now, we're using the classic Sigma 16mm f1.4 with a 1/4 black Pro Mist filter. Small problem. This is far too wide for my teleprompter. Crap. It was about this time that an email unexpectedly showed up in my inbox. Padcaster offered to send out an early unit of their new Parrot Pro teleprompter for review, unaware that I had already pledged to the Kickstarter. Of course, I wasn't gonna pass up this opportunity. If nothing else, I don't have to wait for my Kickstarter to come in to start using it. It's beautiful, clearly made of better materials than last time. Nice durable outer shell, the phone compartment locks into place and acts as a cover. No more bending my camera out of place to shove my phone in as I kept doing and always messing up my angles. And it supports bigger phones, though not iPads, despite the company being Padcaster. Hell, it even has a tripod mount on the bottom in case you're using it with a tiny device like your phone or a GoPro or a webcam, since it's the right size to use at a desk now. Padcaster is basically solving every problem I had with the original model. Parrot Pro comes with all of the threaded adapters for your lenses, a brush to clean the reflector, and a nice little bag. And even a remote. I lost the remote from my original one during a couple moves. I never really used it. I think I'm gonna use this one. I think I'm finally committing to that workflow. I do wish it came with multiple adapters for more common filter thread sizes, 82mm for me, but it's compatible with the rings from my older model, so I at least have those to double up on. Now for the real test. How wide can it go? I've been using it with this rig the whole time. This is what the Sigma 16mm looks like in full frame mode. Despite common belief, it does actually more or less cover the full frame sensor, even though it's designed to be an APS-C lens. However, 16mm is too wide for this, so let's switch it to APS-C. Boom. Now, the caster, the Padcaster itself is out of the frame. We got, okay, there's the teeniest bit of vignette in here, like over here. And right here, the teeniest bit. If you add a vignette to your video or just crop in a tiny bit, you're good to go. The problem is my phone. This is an iPhone 11, so not the biggest phone on the market these days, but also maybe not the smallest. It's probably the smallest I own at this point. You get reflections off of, I guess, my case. My case kind of becomes foreground. Maybe if I take it out. I didn't think about that before recording. What if I slot it in now? Oh, it's better. There is a hint of it at the bottom. Yeah, so between that, I would need to crop in just the teeniest bit. But it works. It works pretty well. For this setup, this is about perfect. This is what I would want. But it got me thinking. A 16mm lens and an APS-C crop is roughly, somewhere around the 24mm range. Would I get away with a 24mm lens, assuming my G Master lens ever gets fixed? All right, this is how far I had to zoom in before with my original Parrot prompter to not have it show up in the frame at wider fields of view. We're at about like 50 to 55mm on my Canon 24-70. And it usually affects the height too, so I gotta start, figuring this out. But on the new Padcaster Parrot Pro, we zoom in all the way out, baby. This is 24mm f2.8 on a zoom lens. Zoom lenses typically show these a little more than primes. So for example, I had a 35mm prime lens that I was using for a while that did not really have any issues with the original Parrot prompter, but 35mm on my zoom lens did. It no longer works with my new camera for some reason. But this one, I'm seeing, yeah, once again, we got the tiniest bit of vignetting in the corners, which I could compensate for or just crop in just the tiniest bit. And plus I'm typically shooting 4x3 or 2x1 today anyway. So, and I don't even see my phone. I have the case on it. Okay, if I push up a little bit, you can see it. Can I can't rotate this down anymore. I wish I could. So yeah, there's the faintest line of my phone at the bottom still, but I've never been able to shoot with a prompter completely wide open. I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, your mileage is definitely gonna vary. This video is from the new Nikon Z8, which is another full-frame video camera. We're on their 24 to 120mm f4 lens, and you can not only see the corners vignetting, but you can also see the top of the prompter in the frame, as well as significantly more phone space in the frame too. So your mileage with zoom lenses will vary. I think we'll try a 28mm dedicated lens just for kicks. If I zoom in, let's say 28, it has a 28 marker on it. It definitely looks good. 35 looks good too. Let's try a couple primes. All right, this is again on the Nikon Z8 using an old Nikon 35mm prime. And it's hard to tell with the recording box on the camera, but best I can tell, there's no prompter in the frame. Sick. All right, and this is with a 28mm Canon FD lens adapted up to my R5C. Once again, I don't see any sign of the prompter in the frame, so I'm gonna say 28mm is a perfect sweet spot, which honestly is not too much to compensate. Like, that's a fine compromise, especially since some of the older cameras crop in by a tiny bit when you record in 4K anyway. I think it works.
I only have a couple minor complaints about the Padcaster Pro, having finally built my entire rig around it with the purpose of using it and recording a couple videos with it at this point. And that comes down to a couple things. I don't think we can lower the angle that your phone sits on enough for some of my uses. Like right now, you don't really see my phone in the shot. Like if I drag my finger along this edge, I've gotten it just out of frame, but I had to really crank on the shelf that the phone sits on to bend it away from the prompter to keep it from glowing kind of in the shot, and I had to take my case off. Now, a smaller phone, this is, as I mentioned, it's an iPhone 11. A smaller phone would do a litll bit better, but you can't get that much smaller and you can't really get thinner. So that's not necessarily Padcaster's fault. Again, it's gonna work better if you're at like 30, 35mm, 28mm even probably. But I would love the flexibility to still be able to lower that shelf a little bit because I can still see it. Like if I angle my phone away from the prompter, it's still close enough to the prompter that I can see it reflected back up at me. So that isn't a problem. So between that and the little tab that actually holds your phone in place, which I love, but it sticks up too far. I guess it's like you don't need it to cover the entire phone. You just need it to stick up far enough for the phone to stop up against it. It sticks up far enough that it can go in the shot. Like if I don't crank this down like I have it, if I put it back where it was kind of supposed to go, you get that bump from that little bit in the shot. So I would love the ability to turn it down a little bit more, and I would love for that little tab with their logo on it to be smaller, basically about the size that the logo is. Otherwise, I don't know what else there is to complain about. Like I had very minor complaints about this one. I didn't really care, like some people said it felt cheap. I didn't really care so much about that. I hated having to, like I hated that this was spring loaded. Like I said, to put my phone into it, to like shove it in there, I was constantly, you know, cranking down on my lenses, which probably isn't good for the mount and the strain there, but would also kind of, even when locked off on my good tripods, like would still kind of tilt them a little bit, adjust my angle, that kind of thing. And it just wasn't fun to mess with. And again, it just showed up in lenses or in frames. But this isn't the first attempt at a wide angle prompter. And in fact, I covered another one back in my original teleprompter roundup videos I was doing a couple years ago now when I first moved into the studio, and that other one was the Desview T2. Now apparently this one actually violates Padcaster's patents for how they're doing the mounting system on this, which is hilarious and unsurprising for, you know, an overseas knockoff product on Amazon. But I did want to see how it compared, because I ended up ditching my one that I used in those videos. Like I suggested it if you wanted a wider angle alternative, but I found it a little bit too jank, and I didn't like the overall workflow, and it still didn't let me go as wide as I wanted. So I went ahead and grabbed another one just so I can compare here in the shots. What I should have said is I ordered another one to do these comparisons. It actually didn't arrive in time. It was delayed from getting to the video, so I will have a separate little short video over on my EposVox Clips channel where I show you the comparison on all the lenses I used in this video. I will post the channel link to that in the description and update that with the video link as soon as it goes live. It'll be sometime over the weekend since I don't gotta produce a whole thing, but I don't have it just yet. The Padcaster Pro is currently being sold on Kickstarter. They're doing a Kickstarter campaign to make sure they can do it. They've already blown past it thanks to Gerald's video. I'm not sure I will contribute anything to that since everyone's already heard of it, but I do recommend if you want to pick one up for yourself, that would be the best way to go about it. It's about 129 bucks, which is a little expensive for a teleprompter. The Desview's like 79, 80. I don't remember how much this one is. I think it was like 99 when I got it originally, but it's been out a while. But for what you're getting for the workflow I'm not sure I could possibly say it was ever not worth it, because we're talking about the ability to sit right up on your camera to record high quality video and to immediately, control scripts. And if you're not scripting your videos, if you're making videos and not scripting them at this point, you're really not even necessarily the whole thing, just parts of them. Parts of this video were scripted. Script parts of your video, get better at writing in your own voice, and your video quality will improve. And plus, you can use it at the desk to, like, this is wide angle enough. 24 mil is what I would recommend as a lens focal length. That's what I'm trying to say for standard webcams on full frame. Like, that's what I was using on my A7C, was a 24 mil as a webcam. You can now mount this cleanly on top of your webcam and either use your phone for like prompter or something like that if you're doing like streams or at desk recordings, or you can get a little 5-inch field monitor, slot it in there, and you can pull up your chat, you can pull up people you're talking with on a meeting, on a call. That's how I recommended doing it in my original prompter video. I had one back when I had a whole separate setup on this side of the studio that had a little eYoYo, I think, 5-inch monitor that I had chat and a teleprompter app and Skype or Zoom, Discord, whatever, running through it. And for streaming, being able to like look at the camera and still see chat and not have to be like, to see chat, like, it's huge. This is a game changer. I am so glad. I don't know why it took them so long. I don't know what the difficulties in engineering it were. I am so glad it exists. And yeah, go check it out. Link will be in the description. This is my new A-roll rig. I know it's weird that I have my R5C and I'm not using it for A-roll, but I'm trying. I want to be the person. I had to sell off a lot of my cameras at the start of the year. Things were really rough. A lot of stuff was going on. So my G7s are gone. My working A6400 is gone. My other one's dead. It's also at the shop getting repaired. I only have a couple extra real cameras now. And so I was trying to be that person that was using the same camera for everything. But at this point, I have my R5C so rigged up for B-roll and like run and gun shooting. Bringing it in over here and using it for A-roll and things like that has become kind of a problem. And I do want this kind of unified, I want to set up and go. I want to be able to just flick this on and start recording whenever I have something to say or whenever I'm ready to produce videos. And this new rig is going to let me do that. And I would only be able to do this rig because of the wide angle support of the Padcaster Pro. If you're interested in any of the gear I used to build out this rig or showed off in this video, I will have a kit link in the description. I used to use this service a ton. I just forgot about it, honestly, so I'm trying to get back to it as I've had some requests to consolidate my affiliate links a little bit. It's just a big list with affiliate links to all the different pieces of what I used to build this rig and what I am using here. So I have a link to that in the description if you want to peruse it for yourself and take any ideas for your rigs. And if you do build something, tag me on Twitter or send it in our Discord. We have an awesome setup channel or awesome setups channel or something like that. I absolutely want to see it. I'm sorry videos have been so slow lately. I have 2 channels to juggle on top of just barely any time in the office at the moment. And I'm working on my OBS Masterclass for 2023. It's called the Definitive Guide for OBS Studio. It is available in pre-sale now. You get the lowest discount I'm ever gonna offer on it. It is the most thorough, complete, hands-on, if you need handheld through supporting, all the way from learning OBS for the first time to doing crazy multicam streams or webinars or esports production kind of stuff. It is the most thorough, kind of involved course that has ever been made for OBS. And it is releasing at the end of this month. So go check that out. That's eposvox.gg/presale, link in the description. Otherwise, we got some other videos coming soon, but I really wanted to tell you all about this because I've been preaching wider angle teleprompters for a long time. And I've seen some of the crazy setups you all have come up with for rigging that. And some of you even showed like mounting your phone separately for that kind of thing. But I think this is it. And I'm super stoked. Remember to be kind, rewind.